Shaisab, if I may break in, that we were having some audio problems, and I think we should start again with what the discussion was about. That this was, we were talking about the promised Messiah alayhi salam and his prophecy, which says Bad 11 inshallah, which is after the 11th inshallah, which means that...
Which context meet the Muslim family, right?
Right, I was going to explain that. So we're seeing that since 2011, November 11, 2011, which is a combination of 3 11s, we're seeing a progress of the Jamaat so much. And we were talking about the Meet a Muslim Family campaign that we're doing, which is part of so many campaigns Jamaat is doing right now. Stop the Crisis was there recently, and it's still going. I mean, Stop the Crisis hasn't stopped. And right now we're doing the Meet a Muslim Family, and we were talking about how there was a 3-hour session this morning even on radio, CBC radio, where they talked about this campaign in 10 different provinces, 10 different channels from East Coast to West Coast. We were talking about this, and
actually it's on the TV. Actually, the last week it's bombarded by the media, CTV, CBC, City TV, Global, all of the provinces, all over the Canada. There's so much excitement in the media and also in an ordinary person. What is your
on Yahoo News today?
Really?
The most random place, yeah.
Really?
Yes, it's not even a Canadian thing anymore, right? So
it's a global thing, right? In Sweden also they have adopted. Actually, they have today somebody have tweeted, like, in Sweden they have taken the picture of the kids who have the some sign of Meet a Muslim Family hashtag Twitter sign, and then they have covered that in the Swedish media also. So look at this. And
and Shaisab, it reminds me, like some of our Buzurgan used to say that, sometimes the Khalifa of the Khalifa Rabe, we quote this often, that he's once said that he wishes that Canada becomes the world and the world becomes Canada. And we see, it being fulfilled in that, people in Sweden or people in other parts of the world are seeing this, adopting this. Stop the Crisis has been recently adopted by by the US completely. They are taking the whole brand and it's going to the US, and the media is covering it over there also. And it's
the uniqueness of the Jamaat, being one Jamaat, that there's no competition here. If something good happens in any part of the world, everybody, all of the brothers and sisters are going to adopt it and go with the same vigor and interest.
Right.
So that's what it is. Haris, what do you want to say in this regard?
I think one of the craziest things, one of the most amazing things is that the idea of Meet a Muslim Family is so simple, but because of the blessings that we have as a Jamaat, that small idea has spread out so far, so quickly, in such an incredible and positive manner. Normally there's always people who talk about, oh, look at this, oh, look at that, but this was fantastic. Everyone's talking about how positive it is, how unique it is, and it's such
how genuine it is.
Absolutely, it's such a small concept at the root of it,
and
that's amazing.
And it's, that's what we were talking about, Bad 11. There's something happened after 2011, 11, that how Allah Ta'ala, it's all, we are taking one small step, it's being multiplied to so many times with the blessings of Allah Ta'ala, because it's bound to happen. That's how the state of the affairs of the world has changed also with the time, and there's a natural attraction for looking for some Muslim role model, which is by the grace of Allah in Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya. Nobody else can be, and nobody else. Huge scheme and very interesting scheme of Allah Ta'ala is going on in all of this. I remember we were doing the blood camps in 2006 or something, like when we started the blood donation with the Canadian Blood Services. We signed the Partnership for Life deal with them. It's a historic event. We were trying to pull media. Nobody was there to listen.
And going back to what you said, this all started with as we were going to Capitol Hill and to the UK European Parliament. Yeah, and the only reason we are such a strong community is because we have such a strong leader, right? So with a good leader, with an amazing leader like our Khalifatul Masih, that is the only reason that we have been able to build that momentum and take leaps forward, leaps that would regularly take another community of our meager size ages to do.
Right.
And I was talking to Shaisab this morning also, or probably yesterday, that I get a chance to work with other Muslim communities also, because we are a very open community. We're not going to be narrow-minded about anything. We like to work with other Muslims also, and it's this element that Shariat has brought up that I feel that is missing. and I don't know how to tell them to get, but a lot of or probably some Ahmadis out there, they take certain things for granted. They don't realize that because of the Khalifatul Masih, there's so many things that are going on that are happening for us. You know how Khalifa
Ya Masroor, divine, it's all divine.
Yeah, and how Khalifa Asani once said that you are sleeping when the Khalifatul Masih is praying for you. I mean, it's so amazing, so amazing.
Right. So this is Alhamdulillah, we are seeing there is a huge momentum which is being developed, which is being built up. This is a very interesting campaign going on. So this is the first thing which we need to brought up. That's how we are witnessing Alhamdulillah all of these blessings of Allah Ta'ala. Now moving forward, we need to cover some of the, as I mentioned quickly in the beginning, I know there was a problem in the video, and I got the instructions, try not to move the chairs, so I will try to be still here. Want it to be real. Okay, anyways, so unscripted and unedited live show. So we are trying to make it more natural, not by forcefully. But the point is, we have talked about there is so many alhamdulillah interesting things that are happening within this Meet the Muslim family. We have talked about hockey. We are watching hockey. We have watched the hockey in Eman Tahir, the final of Canada versus Sweden in the Olympics, and we have CBC covered it. We, alhamdulillah, our generation is here to support Canada, and we are also supporting Cricket World Cup also, which is Canada somehow is not playing this year, and if its Canadian team was there, then we should have. And by the grace of Allah, we made a history in Canadian cricket team that we have an MD who was playing for Canadian national team, Raza Rahman. So that's alhamdulillah, we have seen that also within Canada. And it's all because in Canada this can happen. It's not possible in any other, like especially where we came from. Anyways, so cricket is happening, and what's the score, Ravisa?
And so you put me on the spot. So now Pakistan, Pakistan has lost another wicket, unfortunately, in just last ball. So thanks for asking. So 132 for 3 out, and they just lost a wicket just a moment ago. You asked me.
But we did a mock dry run last week, and I made fun of Mr. Yunus Khan about one of the tweet which I'm going to share here, and I have to change that actually.
Oh, he's the one who just got out.
Perfect timing.
He knew that I'm going to make it again. So, but this is a person, Mazhar Arshad. He's a huge statistician working for ICC, and he tweeted that by the end of the World Cup, Yunus Khan will have more haters than Nawaz Sharif, Zardari, and Altaf Bhai combined. So today, I think so. He has listened to that tweet somehow, somewhere. He has seen that tweet, and I believe he has performed a little bit today.
Yeah, he did.
That's good. Good sign that seniors of Pakistan like me, I'm the seniors of here, Canadian Jamaat. So he's also playing. So that's good.
36 runs.
36 runs.
That's something.
Fine.
That's.
And anybody know how Raptors is doing today? Anyone? Anyone here? Nobody knows? I'm asking for them.
All I know is that I think they're second in the East.
Oh, that's today's match. I'm talking about present right now, so second in the East. So anyways, these games are going on, and alhamdulillah, we all try to enjoy these as well. We are not like a person that just going with this. We try to take care of all of the business around us, and we try to become the part of the society as a normal human being. We enjoy these things, and at the same time, we enjoy the most the relationship with Allah Ta'ala, and enjoy the blessings of Allah Ta'ala, which we have witnessed meet the Muslim family.
Right, and like I was saying, that if you compare it to what other Muslims are missing, it's this element. And maybe this is one of the reasons why they get attracted by Islamic State and ISIS and the caliphate there.
There is reason for that, because they're looking for some connection.
They are, and we see all these poor people. I mean, you have to feel sorry for them because of the stuff that the people go through. I mean, there was Jihadi John, for instance, from the UK, and he became a monster. And at first they thought that he's very educated and everything, but when they looked into his life, he was really depressed and isolated and did not want to talk to anyone, that kind of person, right? And he was looking for that connection, and because he couldn't find it anywhere else, he ended up in this place, which is of course wrong, but it's just
Sorry, I was just going to say that's one of the most beautiful things about our Jamaat. I think, ever since you were a little kid, you've been going to a fall class and Sunday school, so you have had that opportunity to build brothership to the extent that they're not just your friends, they are actually your brothers. You will do anything for these people, right? And that connection then stays with you your whole life, right? So
meaningful connection.
Exactly, right? You make that connection right from your inception, and then you have it throughout your life. And because of that connection, people in our Jamaat don't go astray because we don't
it's
have
a sense
anything
of
to live for.
community. It's a
Exactly.
sense of community.
What do you think, Haris?
Yeah, and I think the aspect of the community, the way we interact with each other, our family, our friends, we don't even necessarily have to ever tell people this is how we do things.
Yeah.
People are observant. People are smart. They notice these things.
Yes.
People at my previous job would notice that I would say certain things about how I interact with my family and my friends, and they would ask me do you prescribe to a religion? If so, which one? I had people actually ask me this, and these were non-Muslim people, because they noticed that there was something different about the way we talk, about the way we do things, and that's amazing in itself. We have this amazing foundation growing up that, without even realizing, changes the way we behave in such a positive way, and that is the best advertising, I guess, for our Jamaat.
Right, and that is the best advertising always for the Jamaat and for Islam and for the, look at Ahmad Islam. It's the same thing. The role model is the best advertisement of the Jamaat. I was visiting Vancouver and I met a person who is, mashallah, at a very high post in one of the multinational company, empty person, and he said that we sometimes are very thankless, sometimes become very thankless. The reason is because he said there is something
ungrateful,
with something ingrained in us right from the childhood, as you have mentioned, that by becoming the part of the Atfal al-Ahmadi office bearer or working for Jamaat, there is some management skills which are getting ingrained in you, which the other people going to MBA, going to Harvard, going to different high schools, high-end schools, colleges, universities, trying to get those skills, but still they don't, because it's not the part of your personality. We, by becoming the part and parcel of the Jamaat work, we raise up in such a fashion that those things becomes a part and parcel of our nature, second nature, the management skills. So look at this.
And we were talking about this at the students' talk too, right? That these CEOs, these corporate world leaders, if you really dig deeper into their lives, the principles that they are using are all Islamic principles, and it's all coming. The community and that sense of community and volunteering that was mentioned also, and it's What do you think?
Just a personal anecdote to add to what Haris said just a while back. I went to an interview for an internship to a doctor. This was a Muslim. And at the end of my interview, he looked at my CV and my extracurriculars, and he was very impressed. And at the very end, he says, I want you to contact the Muslim Medical Student Association and see if they'll take you. And I said, okay, without any hesitation, right? And I just played it off, keeping in hindsight that I am an Ahmadi Muslim, and there would obviously be, somebody against me there. And, at the end of our interview, he comes to me and he goes, Sharyar, are you an Ahmadi by any chance? And I stopped there for a second and I thought about it. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie about my faith. So I said, yes, I am. And he goes, I could tell by your manners and the way you've spoken to me. I've never seen anybody talk to me like this. So I want you to speak to them. And I will personally make sure that there's nobody there that goes against you. So again, going back to the management skills in our Jamaat and the blessings of Khilafat and our strong leader, right? What he displays is what we try to exactly. We try to copy it, and alhamdulillah, it works out amazingly.
I think one of the amazing things with our upbringing isn't just the fact that we learn Islamic principles and whatnot. We are the core Islamic teachings, but we learn how to be good people at the core and be confident and be able to express ourselves properly. There's so many people, like older people at work and whatnot, they feel uncomfortable giving presentations. But you come to an Atfal class, there's a 10-year-old up at the front of everyone telling them about something. Right. That's incredible. This person is being trained since the age of 10 years old. So they're going to be incredible when they actually have to start presenting stuff at their work environment or to the public or do stuff for the Jamaat in the future. It's just amazing.
We are witnessing something very interesting right now. As the Muslim Author mentioned that the time of the preparation of the nations is very silent. Once they prepare and they're ready to launch, they go to the field, you can see a huge change around you. So that's what we are witnessing now, the change. And that's where we have started this episode, this new season, the blessings of Allah Ta'ala. So with this,
with this, we come to the conclusion of the first part of our program today, and we have a short video to show you. So we'll take a break, and you check out the video, and then we'll come back and continue with that discussion.
उफ़क़ से निकला सहर का तारा, उठो जवानों उठो खुदारा, न होगा सुस्ती से अब गुजारा, कि वक्त का है यही इशारा, इमाम ने है तुम्हें पुकारा, 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 उठो अबे अहमदी जवानों, उठो मोहम्मद के पहलवानों, हरीम काबा के पास बानो, चलो के है इम्तिहान तुम्हारा, इमाम ने है तुम्हें पुकारा, इमाम ने है तुम्हें पुकारा, इमाम ने है तुम्हें पुकारा, इमाम ने है तुम्हें पुकारा.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back. We were discussing about this Tarbiyati camp during the break. You have seen the video. It's a grade 10/11 Tarbiyati camp that is about to start next week. And Shahriyar Sahib here has had some experience with that. Can you share what is this Tarbiyati camp? What happens there?
This Tarbiyati camp is a manifestation of everything we've been talking about for like the first half, okay? We start off with basic religious knowledge, and then as the camp progresses, we delve into deeper and deeper aspects of religious knowledge, right? So whether that is the Quran, waking up, at 5 a.m. for Tahajjud namaz, then reading Fajr, and then having time for tilawat after, to learning basic hadiths and du'as throughout the camp. That being said, the amazing part about this camp is it takes religion and it complements it with real life. So we had, I remember, this barbecue trip, and so we went down to the University of Toronto. We went around the campus, saw what university life was about, and then we had this huge barbecue, right? And this camp has the things that happen during the day, which are obviously supervised. But what I found to be the most powerful aspect of this camp was the nights, right? So this is so essentially you get put into groups of 5-10 people, and these 10 people become your best friends, right? Like I'm still in touch with these 10 people even now 6 years after the camp. And you play pranks on each other, right? So I remember one of the main pranks was toothpasting, right? So as you'd be sleeping, somebody would walk up to you and like they'd make a smiley face or something with toothpaste, and you'd wake up with like a burning sensation. So I mean, you have these amazing instances, right? But the end point of the camp is this research project that you have to do. So right at the beginning, you are assigned a project, and you are assigned a team. And basically the end goal is that you need to present everything to do with that project from a religious and secular point of view, and then they evaluate you on it, and then they give you very critical feedback saying you could have improved it from this aspect or this aspect, and that takes us back to our management skills, right? It tells you how to work with people you've never met before, how to work with them effectively, and how to produce a project that is worthwhile to everyone, and that is very informative, right? And that is something that I continue to implement to this day when I do my research.
So this is the 10th annual Tarbiyati camp that's starting. So it's a milestone for the
decade.
And I'm thinking of the 10 years. I mean, I was involved with the first one a little bit, and the second one also. And
we
it
can't afford you anymore. Or you can't afford us anymore.
No, after that, I was in the final year of Jamia, and then we had to go for some training also after that.
You were a senior citizen by that time then, right? Because the reason is we have the Jamia team leads who are working with these teams which I mentioned about 8 to 10 group of students, and there's a team lead which is Jamia, and we prefer to have the team lead which is not a huge generation gap. So from the second or third year,
except on
second or
the
third
show,
year of
right?
Jamia.
And it's very helpful too because even
I need
now
to pick someone, instead of somebody picking me. So that's why. Sorry, go ahead.
during that camp, the Jamia students that you worked with, those Jamia students are no longer just your murabbis; they're also your best friends, right? You talk to them like they are your best friends. You talk to them about life. You talk to them about anything from A to Z. There is no longer.
It's very nice to see there are certain students. I don't want to call them out, but they
looking at one of them.
they were there and so young, and alhamdulillah, some of them actually ended up in Jamia themselves later on, and so it was a
inspiration.
It's very good, and it's it's like a different kind of experience. It's hard to call when we call it Tarbiti camp. It gives connotations.
Of boring,
it's
dry.
Yeah.
Just like Aperture show is also a Tarbiti show, but this. Yes.
When you tell people to go wayofseekers.ca and then go, then they have doubts. I mean, what is this show about?
For YouTube, there's more attraction. Yes. That's what happened literally right now when we started promoting this program. Anyways, go ahead.
So I mean, but it's an experience. It's like a spiritual retreat. I think people.
Your brothers attended.
Yes,
your
my
twin brothers,
my
Akib and
younger
Saqib.
brothers, they attended, and now they're very involved with helping out. They're both responsible for Atfal at.
After that, they came for the Waqf hours also. Like next year camp, they come to and start helping the camp also, right?
And one of the amazing things that, if you look at that from a higher level, large companies or small, like various companies will actually pay so much money to have their company go on retreats, because they realize how important that is. It bonds the team. They can work on unique projects when they're there, and they come back stronger and more unified. The Jamaat does that already. At the 10th graders are doing that and making these bonds at such a young age, which is incredible. So they're already getting that type of training. They already know what to expect when they do this kind of stuff, when they are
and
working.
It's not like any retreat that you can get anytime. It's like a once in a lifetime.
Exactly.
You get it or you don't get it.
One of the attendees of our first Tarbiti camp, he came from Edmonton, and next year he came again from Edmonton to attend and then he ends up going to Jamia also. Khwaja Sahab. So he came all the way, and this is a program which the people look forward to along with the parents all over Canada. They look forward to this program. In the beginning, I know what happened, how we have started, very humble beginnings, only 21 and 22, but it was within those circumstances, everybody was amazed, like what a good turnaround. The people they don't want to come. Okay, the parents said, go for 1 day, go for 2 days. And then after 2 days, when the parents came back to pick them up, don't attend for the 8 days, like this 8 days, day and night camp, you're staying there. They don't want to go back. They don't want to even talk to them. No, we are not going back. We are living here. And that's the success of the camp. What I used to say to the organizers of the camp in those days when we started and still now, that if the body language of the participant is not changed by the second day, it means the camp is not being successful. And body language means what? When you're shaking a hand to a participant, you're shaking a hand and he's looking here and there, it means he's not paying. By the second day, he's shaking the hand with the vigor and interest. That's the body language. That's what we're looking
warmth. For. It's like the coolness is gone, the warmth is there, the attention is there, and it happens if it's perfect. Like, it's a good analogy that if they are showing eagerness to be in the camp on the second or third day, then your camp is fine. Otherwise,
something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
And we need to look at ourselves instead of blaming the participants. No, we need to look at ourselves, the ones who are organizing and who are doing the things for them. There are games also that they compete with each other in those groups. There is so much competitive environment over there day in, day out, within the studies, within the research project, within the games. One of the major takeaway by the participants which I talked to is namaz with translation. They said, now we are enjoying our namaz in a different way because we remember, we tend to forget because of young age. We try to remember, but by grade 10, when you make it once again, remember the whole namaz, it stays with them. So that's how the interest and the vigor over there for this Tarbiti camp.
Yeah, it's a very critical age.
Right.
And psychologists also talk about this, that, even the Atfal al-Ahmadiyya, the Khudam al-Ahmadiyya ages there are certain milestones in our lifestyle, in our lifetimes, according to which those ages are there. And someone who's in grade 10, it's a very crucial age. That's why by grade 11, students are already picking their subjects that's going to affect their whole life. And so, that is a perfect age for you to come, if you're in that age group, to come to the Tabiti camp and, benefit from it. And like Shai Sahib said, that if you revise your namaz with translation at that age, then it sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And one of the most incredible things is that, like, once again, going back to the bond that gets created between these people, I wish I had had that opportunity. Unfortunately, I moved to Canada too late. I wish I could go back in time and actually attend it. But
the best part is it's multifaceted, right? So you got sports, you got research, you got religious knowledge, and you have secular
all of
knowledge,
those
you
things,
have
right.
field trips, you have
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
With these 10 compact or 5 compact days. And
8 to 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Now it's in March break. It used to be in the summer vacation but the Ramadan came. So in summer vacation, it used to be 10 days. And this is the idea which we got from Rabwa, Pakistan. Over there, they have these Tribiti classes from a long time ago. They have actually 2 Tribiti classes now because there are thousands of people who are attending it. And now, alhamdulillah, UK, I just saw the tweet today, Majlis Quran in the UK have started this Tribiti camp also from last few years. So this is, mashallah, once again, the blessing of the Jamaat and Khilafat, how the things are getting on a very different wavelength with the time. So with this, I think we can move on to, because it's a fast pace, we are going to cover many topics today. The next topic is about the new curriculum, which Ontario...
Yeah, the sex ed curriculum that was recently launched. I don't know if they actually have released the full document yet, but they came out with some facts. Have they released a full document?
Apparently a couple Mondays ago.
No, that was the facts.
Oh,
just
okay.
It was
The
for the media.
documents is coming. There is a fact
It
sheet
has
which
a-
is available. Yeah, there
The
are so
fact
many.
sheet is there, but you see, again, this is the difference. It's the fact sheet. It's not the full curriculum. The full the reason why they might be hiding it is because the full curriculum might even be,
Later on, it's going to be on September.
and
right?
it might have even more controversial
Right.
things.
So the
but-
point, what we had the chance, me and Murabi Sahib and Dr. Hamid Mirza Sahib, who's the National Secretary Talim, we had the chance to meet Ontario Minister of Education some weeks ago. And a couple of things, by the grace of Allah, we got the chance to clarify over there. One of the thing was that what we have mentioned to them, because of this, always there is a phobia that religions is against this sex education and all those things. We mentioned to them that religion of Islam is the most practical religion. And why? Because in Holy Quran, there is sex education over there. In the ahadith, sayings of Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he taught the different aspects of this sex education in those ahadith. And we have that covered from the day one. So Islam is a very practical religion. You are exploring now. We have those from the day one. The problem which we have right now is Islam takes care of the society. Once something comes which is going to affect the society, then Islam becomes very sensitive. Although Islam is sensitive about the individuals as well, but about the society it's much more sensitive because they take care of the society. And that's why if we are going to go out of the norm and out of the relationships which are not normal and according to the circumstances which is provided by the Creator, then it's going to cause destruction in many different ways, not the azab only, but also there are many different ways in the psychological, in different societal norms that is going to suffer the society. And the last thing is, we need to have the right. We need to know, you need to be black and white in informing us that what you're going to teach. So we need to know the only issue which we have, you are going with a very aggressive mode and some unnatural acts which you are going to teach. So that's our concern. And then they said that you have the permission, if you want to opt out your children from a certain aspect of those courses, you can do so by all means. So this is a clear thing which we got from them. I wanted to cover in this show also because there's a lot of queries coming, a lot of concerns is showing. So this is the kind of thing we are evolving. Other things also, we are meeting with different people. We are trying to make it more clarified and more solidified and see what we can do in this regard. So this is inshallah going to come up in the coming days. So that's the only I want to touch base in this program, and then we can move further with this. The next.
Yeah, let's hope and let's see what comes up. And from a theological point of view, Shai Sahib, I think it's just we're not against it in principle. I mean, these things should be taught. Sometimes there's a taboo around certain subjects,
Sex education
and
is-
the other extreme is taken by some parents that they don't want to teach them anything. So children at a certain age should know about certain things. There's no denying that argument. Just the concern is that at what age, what they are being taught, and what are those specifics. And once we know those things, then we can decide that which courses are best suited for our children and which courses are not best suited, and we can decide between the two.
Right.
Yeah.
So I hope that we are showing the tweets which are coming on Aperture show. And if somebody can confirm or we can see it on the monitor, I can read by our Naib Amir Sahib, Farhan Khokar Sahib. Great to see Aperture is back watching with family. He has shown the picture. And then it would be great if Canada qualify for next Cricket World Cup and at least one Ahmadi Muslim player in that team by M at Q or me at Quest. Another nice follower of Aperture show. Sabuhi Aperture at Aperture_show. Thank you. Mashallah at Feed Me Diamonds. Very interesting. My favorite show is finally back on. Alhamdulillah. That's good. And NZK at NZK_ Did I Sleep? I hope you are not sleeping watching this show. Excellent show. So these are the ones which we have. And there's also a prayer by Did I Sleep, NZK_ Did I Sleep, that continue to Allah continue to guide all our youth. Ameen. So Alhamdulillah, very busy. It's keep on buzzing. This I'm supposed to get the what? Tablet for the show, but I'm using this. I'm used to it. I cannot afford the tablet.
I hope
right
they
now.
get the message.
No, they do have a tablet.
No, but I can't. Like I'm used to it. You know, I'm an old person. I need to transfer myself to. I use tablet, but I
That's
don't
why he
want
has
to
a
use
BlackBerry
it
too.
No, I should.
Shame
I'm
he's
keep
putting
on
it away
moving
slowly.
my chair. Sorry for that. So next is favorite tweets, which some of them I talked about. What is being talked about in the show, but there's a very interesting.
Did you
tweet.
get a chance to see the billion stars you were mentioning?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
there's a very interesting tweet which we have seen, which we are going to talk about quickly, is in Toronto Star. They have talked about the 12 billion, they found a new black hole equivalent to the 12 billion suns.
Right.
I mean, like, there's still questions about the creator. What sort of foolishness, or more than that there is a creator, there's no creator?
And it's a kind of black hole that defies their theories.
Yeah.
Many of them.
Well,
Is it a white hole or
any-
black hole? That's another question.
Any
It's
black
not
hole,
supposed to be there, according
black hole or any
to you. Are
super-
not,
You're
a
not
physicist.
physicist.
You're not a physicist. So now,
but I've taken quite a bit of astronomy courses.
there you go.
But like, I mean, there's a lot of black holes and there's a lot of things that are being discovered now, like pulsars, for example, that completely defy their understanding of the universe and what they assumed would be there. That being said, you know, there was Newton who developed his physics, but because of the nature of science, that was falsified. And then Einstein came along with his theory of, you know, special relativity. But when you go down to those infinitesimal masses or those super dense objects, even Einstein physics, you know.
Yeah,
go
that
away.
that was also challenged, I think, by Niels Bohr or something, or one of the I don't remember. There was another scientist. He challenged some of the things which Einstein said about quantum mechanics.
Okay.
And you know, I was watching a documentary, and the kind of things that are going on at the atomic level are so strange.
Yeah.
They are so strange that we don't know why that happens at the atomic level and why it doesn't happen at the surface level.
But
right?
don't you see there is a repetition of the same model at the atomic and at the galaxies? And
Yeah, I mean,
same-
fundamentally it is, but what I'm saying is that even like these smallest particles, it's so hard to understand, and it becomes fictional. You know, I mean, the same people who are criticizing us for believing in God are believing in things that are so strange. Like even things like electrons moving from one point to another without moving between those 2 points. They just go from one place to another. It's like a teleportation kind of thing.
Yeah.
It happens. And, you know, they believe in these things. But, you know, when it comes to faith, how much harder is that to believe in God?
Even with the idea of, excuse me, even with the idea of evolution, you know, you talk to someone and you say, hey, do you believe in evolution? They're like, yeah, of course, for sure. And I was like, all right, but the idea of a fact is something that you can measure and something that you can repeat over and over again that will always yield the exact same result.
Right.
Right. So I was like, okay, cool, but can you prove evolution?
Right.
And they're like, no. I was like, that's why it's called a theory. Right. So why do you choose to believe it?
Yes.
Because, you know, our textbooks say so. We learned it in school. I was like, all right,
Because
so
our textbooks say
you
so.
have
Right.
There's
Right.
no difference with what we're
With
saying.
what we are saying,
exactly.
right?
And interestingly, I don't want to delve too much on this, but just recently I was reading about the promised Messiah, alayhi salam, and it's saying the same thing. It's like you have to have that faith. That is the first step. Where else do you go? I mean, you have to take the first step, and then the other stages come after that,
The
and you
leap of
eventually.
faith.
The leap,
right?
it's
Yeah, it's the leap of faith, and then the other stages come. Eventually, you get that conviction and you get that connection with God. But it has to. The first step is faith. If you don't take the first step, then the rest of the steps are not going to come. Right? It's like a ladder.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanted to say something as Haris has started in this regard.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, one of the analogies that one of my professors uses is we don't know anything about what's going on down here and what's going on up here, this being at the atomic level and this being the universal level. And we know very little about what's going down here. So if you really think about it, humans don't know anything at all. Right? We're
Although
still,
we are PhDs and psychologists and physicists, but
And,
still,
and,
right?
and the same people who don't know anything about anything, they would say, "Oh, there's no God."
There's no God.
Yeah, that's one of the most frustrating things, right? Like when you speak to an atheist, I'm not saying all of them are like this. Some of them don't have any knowledge of science or engineering or any of the fundamental things of this universe whatsoever. Yet they will say that all of this is factual and there is no God, right? And it's just exactly like what we're saying, right? There is a God, and just because you don't know everything about that God, doesn't mean He's not there.
Yeah, I was reading an article, and to quickly summarize, it mentioned that it was covering different situations and occurrences that occurred in the past, and it was mentioning that every single one of them had to have happened at that specific time, at that specific magnitude,
For a
and
reason.
for a reason. And any single one of them had been slightly different, we would not be here
Exactly.
today.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
what we are, by the way, we are a speck also. Earth is a speck. In a grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
Earth is a speck. And we are just like microorganisms,
Absolutely.
human beings. Like, look at that. But Allah Ta'ala has given us the confidence by calling us out as Ashful Makhlukat.
Yeah,
And
that's-
within that, there's a Badreen Makhluk also,
Right.
which is small.
and Shahzad, that reminds me, like last time when we were doing the dry run, we were talking about even the Big Bang, even taking back to the evolution. We don't know how the Big Bang happened, or what caused it. We know what happened split seconds after the Big Bang, but we don't know what actually caused the whole thing to start.
There's always
And-
infinite regression that we run
Yes.
into.
Yeah.
So with this, I think so we need to move towards the last
we
portion.
are, we are coming to the end of the program, unfortunately. And, in the end, I would like to mention that today is March 6th. And March 6th is a very special date because it is a time when, with the fulfillment of the prophecy regarding Pandit Lekram. There was an ijlas that Shahzad and I were just attending before coming here, and it was amazing, because it was a very different kind of ijlas where it was just focused on Lekram and how he started and how. And again, one thing I really liked is that quotation of the Prophet Islam, that when he actually died according to the prophecy on March 6th, the Promised Messiah Islam is like, this is a sad day. Even though it fulfills the prophecy, but it's sad for us that this person had to die in this way. We are happy that the prophecy fulfilled, but we are sad that this person had to go through this. But regardless, this prophecy was made in 1893. It was fulfilled in 1897. And many aspects. I don't want to get into the details. But
So many things which are more like the way it's been described. It's a lecture by Jamia Ahmadiyya, beautifully presented, very well articulated, very well researched, which we don't listen to normally. There is a comparison of that prophecy with the Musa alayhi salam, that Bachra
Right.
also 10 different ways
Right.
of how that prophecy
he's like,
compares with the same thing. And then there's so many. This prophecy also relates to Khalifa that the prophecy of the Muslim Maud radhiyallahu anhu. So there's so many beautiful things which can be taken out of this prophecy.
Right, I mean, like it's just one line about him, and that line is like so many different prophecies, and then he's even compared, like there is even a hint about him in the prophecy of Muslim Maud. The prophecy of Muslim Maud was made on February 20th. Prophecy about Pandit Lekram was also made on February 20th. And it's that, and so many things. It was very beautiful. And anyone, I mean, coming back to those people who might have doubts about God, they should research these prophecies. The prophecy of Muslim Maud, the prophecy of Pandit Lekram. So eloquent, so beautiful. These prophecies, and definitely. And so, Shaisa, we are coming to the end. If there's anything else,
favorite tweets, leftover favorite tweets, we have some time. I'm going to sneak in
1 minute.
So, One of my mentor, Basharat Sheikh Sahib, he was my Nazim Atfal in Pakistan. Then he became Qaid al-Aqal Lahore. He's a Canadian citizen and he's also in Pakistan doing his business. He also wished the blessings to all of the team behind the scene and here. Muslim American at Fahim Yunus, Sadr Ansarullah America and Secretary Tarbiyat America. Very well-spoken person in Jalsa Salana. He do many speeches. It's a very interesting tweet. Today he tweeted, Khalifa Awwal said 100 years ago, start with the end in mind. It's second of the 7 habits of highly successful people. Because begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey, he has a book, and second biggest habit is this. So that's what we have talked about in the whole thing. Right. So with this, Jazakallah.
That wraps
next
up,
episode, please.
Jazakallah to all of you for such an energetic and lovely discussion. I enjoyed it very much. With that, we are coming to the end of the show. We have an exciting show coming up. Couple of weeks from now, same type of schedule that we'll do our episodes, and it's the same time. You can check our Twitter account for updates. It will be a show with Malik Lal Khan Sahib, who is the Amir Jamaat of Canada, and Mubarak Ahmed Nazir Sahib, missionary in charge of Canada. And they will be sharing personal stories. It's the same kind of interactive and personal kind of show that we'll have.
It's a gem of an episode we are looking for. Inshallah,
really
please pray for that episode.
Yeah, please pray for that also.
Yeah. Yes.
And so Jazakallah to all of you again for being with us today. And Jazakallah to the viewers for joining us today for this discussion. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.